Superman and the kryptonite to save him from the radiation. So they used him in the story, again, to humanize the character and help out. Those weren't the only types of sidekicks they had, though. There were lots of different types. Now I'm going to go into some of the slightly different types. Over here, you've got this boy in the blue shirt with the red pants. That was the Star-Spangled Kid. The adult next to him with the striped shirt and the blue pants was Stripesy. That one, they actually reversed the normal format. Star-Spangled Kid was the main hero, and Stripesy, the adult, was his sidekick. Star-Spangled Kid was this rich kid named Sylvester Pemberton, who was a great gymnast. And Stripesy was Pat Duggan, his chauffeur. And so Star-Spangled Kid would want to solve a crime, and he'd have Pat drive him to the area, and then they'd change into their costumes, and they'd fight crime. But Star-Spangled Kid called all the shots. DC tried this because a lot of young people read comics. Well, you can be Robin and be Batman's friend and helper, but let's try it where you can imagine you're the hero and the adult is helping you. It was vaguely successful, but it didn't catch on really well, and most people don't know who Star-Spangled Kid and Stripesy are nowadays.
Mike, do you think it was the characters that the public didn't take to, or the concept of the child as the hero?
It was definitely the characters.
Okay.
If you looked at comics at the time, there were certain people, well, even like nowadays, there were certain people that are known for being really good writers or that were known for being really good artists, and there were people that were known for, well, they managed to produce enough pages so they got published regularly. And Star-Spangled Kid and Stripesy were created by people that were known for, well, I can get the pages in on time to fill out the book. They weren't really inspired creators. They didn't come up with characters that were really memorable, like the Joker or Two-Face to fight Batman, or Lex Luthor or Brainiac to fight Superman. So they just fought gangsters and thugs. They didn't ever have any villains. It was just the generic bad guy of the week, a bank robber or whatever. And so they never really got into as much popularity, but it was interesting seeing them try to switch the roles. Okay. The next spot shows a totally different type of sidekick. One of the main roles was support, but another main role was comedy relief. A lot of sidekicks. There were a lot of the adventures with the heroes. The heroes would be very serious, but at the same time, because these are comic books, they didn't want things to be too serious. Comics have a long history of what they call Bigfoot cartooning. Characters like Bugs Bunny, Snuffy Smith, a lot of the stuff in the Sunday Funnies. Why were they called funnies? Because they weren't all drama. They had a lot of humor. So a lot of the creators were used to doing humorous things and wanted to do humorous stuff as they were doing their superhero books. So they created characters that were designed to be comedy relief. Woozy Winks is one example. He hung around with Plastic Man, always wore the green polka dot shirt. Woozy was a con man. Originally, someone that, his first appearance, Plastic Man was trying to stop because Woozy was trying to con everyone into getting him whatever he could. He wanted all the money. He was the type of guy that would try to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge so that he could get something for himself. He was always out for something for nothing. And his first adventure, or his first appearance, Plastic Man was fighting him because Woozy also had this amazing luck where almost anything he wanted or wished for would come true. And Plastic Man convinced him, no, you need to use that power for good, so you help me fight crime. Very quickly, the power so that everything went the way he wished disappeared, like by his second appearance. And he just hung around trying to help Plastic Man while trying to make sure that he could find something to put in his own pocket. Now, Woozy, like I said, was one of a type of characters. There were a lot of them. So the next page, I just give you 3 quick examples. Wonder Woman had Etta Candy. The rather chunky woman that's next to her, Etta's big thing was she always wanted something to eat, and preferably something sweet. She loved chocolate, but it gave her quick energy so she could help fight whoever Wonder Woman was fighting. Woo-woo! That was her big call. She would, oh, we're going to fight someone? Woo-woo, let's go, I got some chocolate. And she'd be eating chocolate and fighting whoever. As the other sidekicks, though, very often Wonder Woman had to save Etta when she got in over her head and got captured. And it gave someone that Wonder Woman could explain what was going on or why we need to do this, that, or the other, so that the readers could follow that. But she was a lot of times done for comedy. They made a big deal about having her dress up as a cowboy if they were going someplace out west, or dress up as a princess because we're going to be with royalty. And Wonder Woman is just looking like a normal person, and everyone else is normal, and here's this one person that stands out so much like a sore thumb, because that's funny. Green Lantern also had his sidekick. You'll see him strapped to the table right now, a gentleman by the name of Doiby Dickles. And Doiby was a cab driver from Brooklyn, New York. And so, because of this, he wore a Doiby hat. That's why he was called Doiby. Everyone else would call it a derby hat, but for him it was a Doiby. And he would help Alan Scott as he's fighting crime. Alan Scott needs a ride someplace. Well, Doiby was always available, never seemed to have anyone else that needed his cab services to drive Alan Scott to wherever he needed to be to turn to Green Lantern and help fight whatever criminal he was stopping. As they show here, he still performs the role of being a person that needs saving on a regular basis, so that it was someone that you knew, but he was also very much a bumbling person. He was a little overweight, so he's trying to solve crimes and prove to Green Lantern that he could be a hero too. So, I hear there's a problem, well, I'm going to go solve it on my own and get into all these predicaments that would make things that would otherwise be very easy for Green Lantern to solve with his magic ring into something that was very difficult and have problems to make the story more interesting. And, as I said, made sure there was a lot of fun. They also had characters, like in military comics, which featured the Blackhawks. They had their character over here in the corner, Chop Chop, who was a Chinese, who was short, very heavy. You'll notice in here, very racially stereotyped, with a bright yellow skin. He wore little pigtails and carried around a hatchet. They also made a point to make things funny, of being very careful with how they did his dialogue, because he was Chinese. He liked things. They never used the letter L every place. They replaced it with R, because at the time in the 40s, that was acceptable, and they thought that was funny. So they tended to use a lot of stuff like that.